Usually the drama on Broadway is saved for the stage, but a beef between several big names is spilling out into the wings.
The offstage drama between actresses Patti LuPone.
I won't perform if he does.
Really?
Really.
Thanks to a recent interview.
LuPone's recent comments to The New Yorker in this article have ignited a firestorm. LuPone complained music from next door was too loud. Kecia Lewis.
These actions, in my opinion, are bullying. They're offensive. They're racially microaggressive.
The 76-year-old shares that she and Audra are, quote, no longer friends due to an alleged rift that happened years ago.
Goes back months and has been pulled back into the spotlight.
When asked about McDonald backing Lewis, LuPone snipped, quote, "You should know better," going on to declare, quote, "She's not a friend."
This bruise has always been there. The makeup just rubbed off today.
I really wonder how much Patti LuPone's PR manager gets paid. Clearly not enough. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I know that I just posted a video recently and I usually don't go back to back like this, but duty calls! So if you aren't A, a theater kid, or B, living under a rock, you've probably heard about Patti LuPone's recent article in The New Yorker and all the drama that is being caused because of it. And if you are A, not a theater kid, or B, living under a rock, I'm going to explain everything that is going on in the Broadway community right now with Patti LuPone. Because... What? There's a lot going on, and frankly, I don't even know what the main theme of this is. Is it Patti LuPone's beef with Kecia Lewis? Is it Patti LuPone's beef with Audra McDonald? Is it just Patti LuPone? I think it's probably just Patti LuPone. If you're new to the channel, hi, my name's Kaya. I make theater content. I'm going to school for theater in New York City, and I like to post videos about theater. So if you also like theater content and like theater news, make sure you subscribe. Please. All right, let's get into it.
Stop taking pictures!
Patti LuPone. Who is Patti LuPone? You probably already know Patti LuPone, but you're probably the 90% of people who A, aren't theater kids, or B, living under a rock right now. So let me explain to you who Patti LuPone is. Patti LuPone. Patti LuPone is an award-winning Broadway actress, one of the best Broadway actresses of our time currently. She's known for a wide set of roles that she has portrayed during her career, including Reno Sweeney in Anything Goes, Norma Desmond in Sunset Boulevard, Eva Perón in Evita, and her incredible portrayal of Mama Rose in the 2008 revival of Gypsy. But along with her Broadway credentials, Patti LuPone is most often known for her character rather than the characters she portrays. You might have seen the video or audio recording of her yelling at an audience member to not take pictures during a show.
Stop taking pictures right now!
Which did turn out to be a photographer who was hired to take pictures of the show. Or you might have seen a famous clip of her where she says that she's not going to perform for Donald Trump if he comes to one of her shows.
Why should President Trump come see your show?
Well, I hope he doesn't, because I won't perform if he does.
Really?
Really.
Tell me why.
Because I hate the motherfucker. How's that?
Patti LuPone has built up this persona of hers that is mainly the biggest reason why the Broadway community has dubbed her as the Broadway diva. And with that title comes a lot of trouble. Hence, The New Yorker. On May 26th, 2025, Michael Schulman published an article in The New Yorker called Patti LuPone is Done with Broadway and Almost Everything Else. Now, this article mainly dives deep into Patti LuPone's journey to Broadway, her personal life, her obsession with the New York Rangers. Quote, "It was all sex appeal," she recalled of her hockey fixation. "Take your clothes off, boys. Naked hockey. No cups. I want full frontal." As well as digging up some dirt. But before we get to that, we need to mention another actress entirely. Kecia Lewis is an American actress prominently known for her Broadway roles, such as Asaka on Once on This Island, Matron Mama Morton in Chicago, Mrs. Norman in Children of a Lesser God, and most recently, Miss Liza Jane in the current ongoing Broadway production of Hell's Kitchen. On November 2nd, 2024, Lewis posted a reel to her Instagram account calling out Patti LuPone for bullying and being racially microaggressive to the production team and sound team of Hell's Kitchen on Broadway. At the time, Patti LuPone was in a production of The Roommate, which shared a wall with the Schubert Theater, where Hell's Kitchen currently plays. At the time, LuPone found that a lot of the sound and music from Hell's Kitchen would bleed through the wall and into her production of The Roommate, which makes sense considering The Roommate was a two-person play, whereas Hell's Kitchen was a full-cast musical. LuPone originally spoke to her stage manager and asked if there was a way that they could lower the volume so that the sound wouldn't bleed through the wall. LuPone was then instructed to call the head of the Schubert organization to ask if that could be done, which it was. And once that was taken care of, she did proceed to send flowers to the production and sound team at Hell's Kitchen. Lewis made the Instagram video and said that what LuPone had done was, quote, bullying and racially microaggressive because she had labeled a black show loud. She also said that by sending flowers to the production and sound crew at Hell's Kitchen, she was dismissing the fact that she was being racially microaggressive and asked for an apology. She also accused LuPone of bullying when video came out of LuPone refusing to autograph a poster or playbill, I'm not really sure, of Hell's Kitchen because the show was too loud. In the New Yorker article, Patti LuPone responds, quote, "Here's the problem. She calls herself a veteran. Let's find out how many Broadway shows Kecia Lewis has done, because she doesn't know what the she's talking about." She then proceeded to Google how many credits Kecia Lewis had compared to her. Quote, "She's done 7, I've done 31. Don't call yourself a vet, bitch." Now, of course, the author had to fact check this, and Lewis actually has 10 Broadway credits compared to LuPone's 28. She then doubles down on her defense, saying, quote, "This is not unusual on Broadway. This happens all the time when walls are shared." So the current issue between Kecia Lewis and Patti LuPone is that Patti LuPone asked the Hell's Kitchen sound team to turn the sound down so it would not spill into her production of The Roommate, and Kecia Lewis found this as an act of bullying and racially microaggressive. Patti LuPone then responded by saying Lewis was not a Broadway veteran and called her a bitch. So that's it. Just kidding, it's not. You thought it was over? This is Patti LuPone we're talking about. Next, we have to address the issue between Patti LuPone and Audra McDonald. Audra McDonald is, you guessed it, another Broadway actress and singer, but not just your typical Patti LuPone. She is the most Tony-nominated performer in Broadway history. She has won 6 Tony Awards, more performance wins than any other actor, and is the only person to win a Tony in all 4 acting categories, that being Best Leading and Supporting Actress in a Musical and Best Leading and Supporting Actress in a Play, and has also received 2 Grammy Awards and an Emmy Award. She's most well known for her performances in shows like Porgy and Bess, Carousel, Ragtime, and most recently she's taken on the role of Mama Rose in the 2024 revival of Gypsy, which is currently running on Broadway. Now, as of the recording of this video, Kecia Lewis has turned off comments for her video. But back when comments were still on, Audra McDonald had replied with a various number of hand-clapping emojis and heart emojis showing her support for Kecia Lewis during this time. When the author of the New Yorker article elaborated on that, LuPone responded by saying, quote, "And I thought you should know better. That's typical of Audra. She's not a friend." According to the article, McDonald and LuPone had a rift at some point, but LuPone did not discuss it further. Now, remember how one of LuPone's most memorable roles was Mama Rose in the 2008 revival of Gypsy? Well, when the publisher of the article asked her opinion on Audra's interpretation of Mama Rose, she, quote, "stared at me in silence for 15 seconds. Then she turned to the window and sighed. What a beautiful day." So, that brings us to the end of this tea for right now. It's time for thoughts. Do I think Patti LuPone was being racist and bullying the sound design and management team from Hell's Kitchen? No. Sorry, this might be a hot take. I think LuPone meant, technically, from a sound mixing standpoint, the show was too loud. I've heard a lot of people recently talk about how loud Broadway shows are from a mixing standpoint. Especially I've heard people specifically say shows like Mean Girls and Jagged Little Pill had a lot of trouble making sure that their sound was at a correct volume. And she was allowed and given permission to contact someone to ask the show to lower their volume a little bit. I think that is a reasonable thing to ask for. Now, the whole thing with her refusing to sign a playbill, I feel like that's just Patti LuPone behavior. That's just diva behavior. And I think sending the flowers to thank them for doing so was a nice gesture. I don't think she was trying to be dismissive at all. But that is where my support for Patti LuPone ends. Out of everything she could have said, she took the worst possible response. Instead of reaching out to Lewis and explaining that there was a miscommunication and that she wasn't attempting to be microaggressive, she responded by attacking Lewis's character and calling her expletives, which is the worst possible thing you could say. As someone who studied PR and PR crisis communications, if my client did that, I would be pissed. Just because a person has 18 less Broadway credits than you does not mean that they're not a Broadway veteran. Kecia Lewis has made a name for herself in the theater industry. I think, if anything, that statement itself might be missing racial context because, as we all know, the theater industry is incredibly difficult, and when you factor in being a Black woman, that makes your odds of making it in the industry even harder. And as we all know, American musical theater was built on the backs of minstrel theater, which in itself was racist. The odds have always been working against Black women in the theater industry, whether that be casting them in stereotypical roles, not funding Black-directed shows or shows focused on Black culture, or even just refusing to cast Black women in roles that are racially ambiguous or don't have an assigned race. All of these factors could have inhibited Kecia Lewis's Broadway career in some way. For the work that she has done, Kecia Lewis is more than eligible for a Broadway veteran status, and Patti LuPone calling her otherwise, and on top of it calling her a bitch, is completely unwarranted. As for the whole deal between LuPone and McDonald, girl, I don't know. I also just want to take this time to give you little examples throughout the article of how weird and rude LuPone is. There's a part where she's looking down at people from her apartment window who are in Central Park, and she just says, "People sitting by themselves, lonely as hell." Damn. I mean, people are just trying to live their lives, girl. I don't think they're lonely as hell. They're just like sitting on a park bench. But that's not what matters. What matters is your opinion. Let me know down below what you think of this whole situation. Do you think Patti LuPone was wrong for asking the Shubert Theater to lower their volume? Do you think Kecia Lewis is in the wrong for making a video about it? What is Audra McDonald doing in this whole drama session? She doesn't really have anything to do with this, so I won't accept any Audra McDonald slander in the comment section. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.